Hey! You are listening to the Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Got to take care of a few things before we jump into this week's episode. First, our Ramping Isometrics for BJJ program. It is a 12-week program, all laid out for you. It's going to help you build strength and cardio in the fastest, safest, and most convenient way possible. This is how James and I have been training for the past year, and we love it. So we put this program together so you can just follow along, and we are certain you will see and feel the benefits that we do. It's only $15. Just go to grumpyguybjj.com, click the drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll find it. Next, R3. This is our K2 D3 supplement. It is a combination of those two vitamins, D3 and K2. These are two vitamins that James and I have been taking for a long time that really help us recover from hard training sessions. And for only $15 with free shipping, you get a whole month supply. I was going to pull up some studies explaining the benefits of D3 and K2, but I'm not going to insult your intelligence and pretend to be a fucking scientist. I take it. It helps me recover. That's it. So for $15, check it out. And last but certainly not least, we have partnered up with Jiu-Jitsu.com. They have a ton of awesome BJJ instructionals, and they have hooked us up with a discount code for our listeners. It's Grumpy10. So what you got to do is you go to Jiu-Jitsu.com, which is DIGITSU.com. Find the instructionals you want, throw them in a shopping cart. In the little discount code box, you type in Grumpy10, which is just GRUMPY and the number 10, 10. That's it, no spaces. Boom, you get 10% off. You're up and running. They got a nice app you can download on your phone. That way you can take your instructionals right to the gym with you, watch the technique, drill it. It's a pretty sweet setup. So once again, DIGITSU.com. Discount code Grumpy10, GRUMPY10. Simple as that. To find all this stuff I just got done talking about, go to our website, grumpyguybjj.com. Click the drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner. There, you'll subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates. You'll find links for the Ramping Isos program, the R3 Recovery Supplement, and then under the Programs and Products tab, you'll find a link to Jiu-Jitsu.com. And let's be honest, if you guys can't figure out how to navigate a website by now, there's nothing I can do to help you. So quit fucking around, check it out, train hard, and let's get into this week's episode. And boom.
Boom.
We are back. Sort of. We have a very extra special edition of the podcast today. We don't have James, but we have two special guests. We got Kiele and Angela.
The happy gal.
The happy gal takeover of the podcast.
We have a very happy episode today.
Maybe. I don't know if you guys will influence me to be happier or if I'll influence you guys to be grumpier.
I think it's going to go us influencing you.
It's 2-on-1. I think we got this.
Yeah.
Maybe. So this came about because James and I, poor planning. We knew, he told me he was going to be out of town this weekend, hanging out with Joel Jameson. And I went back to work last week, but we didn't do the math and realized that we probably should have recorded last week, an extra episode.
I think Labor Day.
Oh, it was Labor Day weekend too. Yeah. We had extra time. We could have done it. Except we were out
goofing off.
We were out goofing around on the river. So that led to this. And this, I kind of had this idea half-assed, like as I was leaving last night. But then when you texted me this morning, I was like, oh, she's serious. I guess we're doing this.
I talked to James and he was like, sure, why not? So.
Sure.
Yep. Have us on.
So, for our millions of fans, you guys should introduce yourselves. You've had some cameos on the podcast.
A little bit. So just when I come in to say bye to you guys.
Hi and bye. So people are aware of you.
Yes.
But who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you? Really? Not like a big existential question. I mean, you can really, if you want to go deep,
we talk about this, Rob.
We talk about.
Given me.
Okay, we can start with Angela. We put her on the spot.
Sure. I've been training jiu-jitsu 7 years, and I'm a purple belt. There you go.
Your name is Angela.
I'm Angela.
Angela. I'm Kiele, James's wife. And, gosh, I don't even know. Have I been doing jiu-jitsu for about 5 years, almost? In November, it will be 5 years.
Really?
Yep. Also a purple belt.
And both you guys are
1 degree purple
1
belt.
degree. You're 2
I'm a
degrees.
second
You're
degree.
second degree
Yes.
purple belt.
First degree.
I was trying to remember that because Mahler was over at my house yesterday, and he brought up the fact that he was still purple belt. And I was like, how long have you been purple belt? He's like, oh, about 7 years or something. I can't remember what he said, but he's been at it for a while.
Yeah. Take some time off.
He's taking some time off, and I didn't want to. I'm sure he might listen. I think he listens to this podcast. I didn't drop this information on him yesterday, but I wanted to share with him, like, well, you might be a 7-year purple belt because of your style of jiu-jitsu. The fact that you said, I don't have a game plan, I just do stuff, might lead to good things and or bad things in jiu-jitsu. So
It hasn't led to a brown belt.
it hasn't led to a brown belt yet. It's coming. One day.
Good. Purple's good.
Yeah.
I think it's a great color.
Yeah.
My favorite color. So purple.
Brown's not a real pretty color.
No. You can't color coordinate your outfits as well.
No.
That's for sure. Yeah.
No. Stay purple for a long, long time.
You
That's
know
the plan.
You know it's out of either one of yours control. Kind of.
I can keep wearing the same belt.
You can just keep wearing it. Even if you get promoted, you can just be like, no.
Memory loss.
I
I didn't get
I
a
don't
brown
need
one.
to be a brown belt.
Yep.
You could, I guess.
Lose your brown belt.
Or right before you're about to get promoted, you quit and open up your own school without without a coach.
That might be a little extreme.
That's a little extreme, but it is an
to
option.
avoid.
To avoid promotion. Instead of just skipping seminars and classes with the coach there, you could just abort mission altogether.
Yeah. My brother called Kevin because he's doing all this, like, digging into our family history, and he found our crest and all this. So he wanted to get a belt with our family crest embroidered on it. So he calls Kevin, and the first question he asks Kevin is, so is my sister getting promoted anytime soon? And I'm like, Kevin, did you laugh at him?
Did he really ask that? What was the answer? What did Kevin?
Kevin was like, no.
No. Should be purple for a little while longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, Brian, you don't call and ask my coach, when is she going to be... He's like, well, I just didn't want to send a belt and you, like, get promoted shortly after because it, like, you know, isn't...
So you're going to have a belt with a family crest on there?
Well, and then this led to... him and Kevin started talking, which is scary.
Did you sign off on this?
No, not at all. Well, because that's what I get for not answering my brother's phone calls right away, because he starts doing other research on his own. But Kevin found out that he had the digital file for it, so he told my brother that we could get patches embroidered. And so I think I'm going to get a patch for my gi.
And a belt, or just not a belt?
No, I think just the patch.
That's cool.
What's your family crest look like? I know it's kind of hard to explain on a podcast.
Yeah, it's like got hearts on it, and the hearts are like this wood plant. I don't know. I should know more about it, but I just found out we even had a family crest about a week ago. But apparently, like, there's jiu-jitsu schools in Japan that use this crest.
Really?
Yeah, I guess our family's like samurai history is what he's found.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, I don't know. So it's like got these 3 like heart-looking things around, and then like this circle in the center, and it kind of looks like an emoji. I was like, I don't know that I see samurai wearing this. It's cute.
That could be your next Masters Worlds tattoo.
Ooh, it could be. Yes.
Is there a next Masters World tattoo?
Well, there was a first, so there could be a
Everyone's
next.
family crest.
Oh God.
I don't think we should all get your family crest.
Yeah, no, that'd be
No,
weird.
I'm saying
strange.
let's find all of your guys.
I've gone down that road before. I can't. Mine's got something. It was not nearly that exciting. Like, there was no samurais in my past, no warriors. If I remember right, there was like a tree stump, and then something else not very exciting.
Okay.
Like,
There
I
you
came
go.
from a line of ditch diggers and tree choppers, apparently, or something.
Nice.
Which, okay, that makes sense, I guess. So, but anyways,
Any hints
Any-
of your
My tattoo?
your family
My
crest.
family crest?
crest?
I have
Family
no
history?
idea. No.
No.
Haven't looked into it.
Some homework for you.
Some Arab, German, and Irish family, so who knows?
Seems aggressive.
That's why I said all the
German
pissed off people in the world right there.
All come together.
I feel like there's drinking there that you don't drink.
Except for the Arab side. They're not
Arabs
drinkers.
don't drink? They don't
not
drink
really.
much?
No. Most don't. I think that's why I can't drink the Arab blood.
I would think the Irish blood would really
cancel it out.
that out.
Yeah, the
Irish and German should.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying hard enough, probably.
Probably.
Not embracing your roots.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So did you guys come in with a game plan today? Or what you wanted to talk about? I hope you guys prepared for your podcast debut. This could be like a life-changing event for you guys. This is
I have a whole notebook.
a big yeah. I don't see any.
Not here.
I don't see any notes.
It,
any notes in front of either one of you.
No, I did try to find some, I was going to call it sister science.
Nice.
Yes.
You gotta fill James's shoes.
But there's oddly enough, there's no science on anything like women jiu-jitsu or women wrestling or grappling. I guess it's not really a thing that people wanted to study.
I could see that. Oh, we might be getting our Pokemon update. I heard the
That
door
or
rattling.
or it's Akka being aggressive about being excluded.
It could be. It is. Yeah, it is. We've learned, for some reason, he was hanging out with us on the podcast for quite a while. Quite a few episodes. And
Yeah, I
then
don't know what happened.
past couple months, he's just been going ape shit.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
So we'll be getting a Pokemon update on this episode.
Oh,
here we go. Possibly. And Akka. Are we ready for the Pokemon update, dude?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so my today's Pokemon update is Lycanroc GX. It has 200 hit points, and GXs have actually 3 moves. It does 30, 120, and 200. The 200 is Lycanfang GX, and it's my most damager yet, I think. But I have somebody who has more hit points, 220, and
That's pretty cool. That's a real big Pokemon card, too.
yeah, it's a big Pokemon card.
Yeah. And you told me yesterday that if I was thinking about getting you a birthday present, Target was the best place to get packs of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
In case I was wondering. I'm glad you told me that, though. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't have known where to get them. What if I don't want to get you Pokemon cards for your birthday, though?
that's the only thing I like.
So if I get you anything else, you're just going to take it back and not accept the gift?
I don't know, you're pretty into those bots.
Yeah, you can get me bots or a Pokemon.
I can? Well, thank you for letting me.
Are you registered at Target?
Do you have a gift list? Your birthday's not for a long time.
Yeah.
Christmas
This
comes.
is some pre-planning.
Yeah.
It's less than a year.
It is less than a year.
Yep.
But Christmas comes first.
Yeah,
Yeah? You don't want Christmas gifts, you just want birthday gifts?
I do. I want Christmas gifts.
Alright.
I might get tons of Pokemon card packs, and then on my birthday, I might have so much that I get all of them.
That's a lot of hoping. I think there's a whole bunch of Pokemon cards.
Yeah, my friend has 2,000, and that's not even all the Pokemon.
Man, oh
Wow.
man.
Yep.
Alright.
Okay.
Well, thanks, dude.
Thanks for the update.
Yep.
Thank you.
Alright.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya. Alright. I knew everybody couldn't wait to hear that.
Yep.
No, so on a more serious note, I was going to ask you guys about what it's like to be a chick doing jiu-jitsu. But before we get into that, we can't just dive into this week's topic because
That's not how it
we do
works.
shit.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I didn't tell you, I've told her about my most recent encounter with a neighbor and my dog.
Uh-oh.
This is amazing. And
Amazing.
this is truly amazing. And it's all started, remember, I'm pretty sure James shared this story a month or two ago when you guys were out mountain biking and that little dog attacked Akka. And then that lady was being real mean to him.
Yeah.
Then you came up and mean mugged her and it all squashed.
Yes.
Similar, because that whole incident was spawned by a little shithead dog
Yeah.
being out of control. Same situation, right? So I'm walking through my neighborhood, minding my own business. I see across the street, this guy comes out of his house and he's got a little Chihuahua with him. I'm on the other side of the road. I know this dog's kind of an asshole because he comes out at the fence barking at us, every time. And so I don't cross the street. I just turn around and I start walking the other way. Of course, his dog comes charging at us. Tries to bite my dog. I mean, he's being super aggressive trying to bite my dog. And my dog's not very tolerant, to put it nicely. So my dog was going to try to kill him. So I yanked I had my dog on a leash, of course. So I yanked my dog back and I go to flick the dog with his foot. I'm sure from his perspective, it looked like I was kicking his dog, which I kind of was. Yeah. But I was just trying to create space. Because it was I made the choice. Either my dog might get a hold of it, because this dog's not stopping. He just keeps lunging at my dog. It's either my dog, if my dog gets a hold of it, it's dead. It's a wrap. You're not going to stop it before he's dead. It's either that or I yank my dog back and I try to kick the dog away, and then hopefully his owner can come get him. So this is going on. You can picture this. I'm yanking my dog. I'm kicking at this little fucking dog. This guy finally runs out and scoops up his dog and he yells at me, "Oh, don't kick at him."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, "Hey man, my dog is going to eat him. If it's either I kick him or my dog is going to eat him." And then he's like, "Well, why do you always have to walk down here?" And it took me a second. I was like, "Dude, I live right there." I was one street over from my street, and you can almost see my house through the yards. Yeah. I was like, "My house is literally right there. That's my roof." And he didn't even listen to me. He's like, "Why do you always got to walk down here?" And so I could tell I wasn't going to get through to him. I was like, "Wait a second. Your dog attacked mine, and this is my fault somehow?" And then I could see his gears turning. Okay, this argument's not working. Let's change tactics. Then he goes, "Can you guess where the argument would go on how this would be my fault? If I was to give you, I could give you 100 guesses. Do you have any?"
So his next response as to how this is your fault?
I asked him, I was like, "So your dog attacked mine. First, I shouldn't be walking on his street." Uh-huh. Apparently it's his street. He owns it. But then when you realize that didn't work, and I asked him, I was like, "Your dog attacked mine. Mine's on a leash, and this is my fault. How? What would a normal response be?"
Well, a normal response.
Oh, okay. Don't let me qualify.
No, don't go normal.
Don't go normal. What would a ridiculous response be?
A completely ridiculous response is, I don't know. Why don't you own a cat?
That's close. That might have been better. He says to me, "You're walking down here all the time, casing houses."
What?
I was like, what? I was dumbfounded. I was like, what? He's like, "I know why you're always down here. You're casing houses, looking for houses to rob." And then I laughed a little bit. I chuckled at him. I was like, because then he starts walking away at this point. And I was like, "What in the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "You're trying to rob houses. I see you walking around looking at all the houses all the time, being all nosy."
Oh my God.
I was like, "Dude, your dog attacked mine, and all of a sudden I'm a burglar?" I was like, "You are being completely ridiculous right now."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh no, I know what I see. You're trying to rob houses. You shouldn't be walking down here all the time." Wow. And I was just like, "You're right. I am looking for houses to rob."
Did you say my name is Rob?
My name is Rob. I'm not trying to rob houses. But yeah, that happened. I was out walking my dog. I think it was Wednesday morning before I went to work.
That's
and I was
crazy.
just walking my dog. All of a sudden, I was out casing houses. I know, Aka. I know. Just because his dog attacked mine. Thankfully, nothing bad happened.
Jeez. I can only imagine what he would say if something happened.
Dude,
that's what I thought. If his house gets broken into, it's
they're coming to me. I think I actually might go down and talk to the guy. Go knock on his door and be like, "Hey, dude, we were both a little heated the other day. But hey, man, I'm not trying to rob anybody. Here's my name. If you want to call the cops, here's my phone number. Yeah. I live right there. Please send them by." I would love to talk to him. I would love to say hi.
Maybe it'll be someone I know.
It's probably somebody I know. Come on, man. We got to understand what happened here. Your little shit dog tried to attack mine. Nothing bad happened, and it could have. And that's it. But I think I will. I probably will end up going down there and just...
People are so crazy.
I couldn't believe it, dude. People are crazy.
Those little dogs are wild to me.
Yeah.
It's like under a certain size, people almost feel like they don't need to worry about them because they can't do anything bad.
No, and they don't train them at all when they're little because they're little.
We got, when you were talking to that guy yesterday, their little dog was taking a poop in my front yard. I'm like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
In a Yorkie.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's people either a lot. I see it's very general, but a lot of people don't just because their dog really can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't train it.
But then the chances of that dog getting hurt if your dog is really aggressive, it's really high, you know. But they don't think about that, and that's I couldn't believe it though. It just went from this guy not being a good, responsible dog owner to me being a burglar.
It escalated quickly.
So quickly, dude. Like immediately. And I mean, the first part was ridiculous. I can understand he was emotional. You know, it got heated pretty fast. But the fact that he's like, don't walk down the street, like he owns the street. Yeah. I mean, I hate
a private drive sign.
Yeah, like all these houses that are next to you, people live in these things. Yeah. You know, and they walk around, they ride bikes, all kinds. It's weird, I know, but all kinds of things. But no, and then it went from that to being a burglar. So I was looking forward to sharing that on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're recording this week because I would have had to wait until next week. I would have had to wait too long to share.
It's so funny how, like, because James will do that when something happens. He's like, oh, I gotta go make a note so I remember about that on the podcast.
I'm always worried about that because I always show up to you guys' house early, and James and I will get talking for 45 minutes before we record, and then I'm like, man, we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about, but that doesn't ever seem to be the problem.
You guys talk a lot.
Yes, we do.
Sometimes in the middle of Grumpy Guy class, even.
Wait, you guys are accusing us of talking a lot? I don't know if this is justifiable or not.
We talk a lot, but we don't disrupt class because we're not leading the class.
But is it disrupting class if we're the ones running class? Or is it just part of the experience?
It's pausing the exercising.
But usually you guys enjoy the pause.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, Angela. But anyways, so I wanted to share that story with everybody.
I had thought maybe this should be a little like the airing of the grievances, but
I think we may have to have one of those episodes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Like Festivus.
Yeah.
We'll do it around Christmas time.
Yeah.
An annual Festivus episode, an airing of grievances.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
But I don't know if we should.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, but I don't know if you guys should be part of that. Maybe.
You wouldn't want both sides to
No,
be there.
we don't want both sides. We just want to air our grievances. We don't want to give you guys a chance to rebuttal or anything.
We'll just have to listen to it the following week when it comes out.
But you could always have your own podcast. It's a pretty simple system.
We could. I don't know that we have that kind of drive and determination.
No, I'm not sure we do. We'd just rather hijack yours every now and then.
Exactly. Much easier.
Is it easier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot of drive and determination to do a podcast.
There's
It takes some time, though.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consistently mediocre, but it's still consistent. It is still consistent.
It's always entertaining.
We'll just fill in on the off chance that you guys need content.
That could be. We could just have you guys fill in once in a while.
No.
We'll see how many complaints we get about this episode. Or
It may be
we
our most
get
popular
new
episode ever.
New followers.
We may get some female listeners.
That would be
I'm
good.
guessing we don't have very many.
And then you guys will piss them off next week.
Yeah, then we'll say some sexist shit and piss everybody off.
I could see that.
I don't think we generally say too many sexist things on here.
No.
Not for the most part.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
We may say some accidentally racist things once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
And then you cover it up by saying you're a lookist.
Or observist or a lookist.
Yeah.
What was there? We like to be very assumptive
Yeah.
on this podcast. I did come across the word the other day that might describe us as, being a terrible, terrible people. Is a trans exclusionary. So, like, if you're the type of person that doesn't believe a guy who is a trans woman should be allowed to compete in the women's divisions of any sport, because that's just, in my sense, logical.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously advantages there.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys see there's a rapper from England or something. His name is Zuby. he was a guy who he's a pretty strong and fit dude. Like you can tell he lifts some weights, and he set the women's powerlifting deadlift record because as he walked up to the barbell, he's like, "Why I'm doing this lift? I identify as a woman." And so that qualifies him as a woman, and he deadlifted and broke all the women's world records.
Oh my gosh.
And so now he is
That was just proving a point.
He holds the world record for the women's deadlift.
Wow.
Because he just wanted to show how ridiculous this world has become.
Yeah.
And so he gets labeled as like a trans exclusionary. It's like, wow, that guy. I said, we might fall into that category.
Yeah.
Podcast, Apple Podcast has a lot of new categories and subcategories you can put your podcast in. I wonder if trans exclusionary is one of them.
I'm going to say no.
We could just put all the terrible labels on there, like sexist, trans exclusionary, racist. Just put terrible labels like categories.
You might get your podcast removed from Apple.
Or you might get more hits of people you don't want listening, maybe. I don't know.
That is true. It might attract a different
really interesting
a whole new audience.
It might give a lot of weird emails.
Yeah.
We don't get... I wish we got more weird emails.
Do you guys get any emails?
Once in a while. Once in a great while.
Nice.
When we pose a question out there for our...
Did anyone respond to your stand up or sit down?
No.
No?
It's bullshit.
He did an informal poll at the gym.
Yeah.
It's still ongoing. I meant to ask Nate.
I did notice the poster in the bathroom at the gym has a guy standing. The arm bar. Like things to do.
But isn't that just showing that you shouldn't be barefoot in the bathroom?
Yeah, but he's at the toilet.
Yeah. That's a very small thing though.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
And it's kind of a public bathroom. That was the line
Yeah,
there.
in public bathrooms, most of the time I'm standing up. But yeah, I'm taking polls, and I got some converts. I told somebody I won't put him on blast on here. I don't know if he's comfortable with his information being out there, but he was when I first asked him. He said he stood up all the time at home, and he's a domesticated, civilized individual, married, children, and whatnot. But he said he's sitting down about 50% of the time now.
Huh?
Changes to him.
I like how you're not anyone else is doing it, but you're converting people to it.
I'm showing them error in their ways. To realize that it's a more sanitary way to live.
Then the poll a year from now will show more people on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta ask Nate. Nate's a very domesticated, civilized individual.
Yeah.
We'll see what he says. He's listening. So, I'm sure he tells me. Anytime I mention stuff on here and I'm wrong or I screw something up, Nate's like, hey, that's not right.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Oh, man. That's what we need to do is the follow-up podcast to their podcast. Correcting
Answers.
shit.
Correcting all
Yeah.
the shit.
Here's what you missed.
Yes.
Now, here's a different take. The more correct take.
Yeah. So I do have a story that I'm sure James was going to share. But
Sweet.
since he's not here, I'm going to share it. So I got a call on Friday and it was the District 51 Nutritional Services. And I'm like, what is this? I told Angela this story. And it's a recorded call, and they're like, we're just calling to let you know that your son, Z. Wilson, has a negative balance of $14 and some odd cents. And I'm like, what? Because I send his lunch to school with him every day. Like, I didn't even know that they just automatically give them an account. Like, it's not something, I thought it was like
You'd have to
something
sign
you had
up
to set
for it.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the very least, they wouldn't give him stuff unless there was money on the account. But no, he's been getting a milk with his lunch every single day since school started.
Well, they offer it.
That's what he's like. I'm the only one that doesn't get a milk, so I just started getting milks, and I'm like,
You getting chocolate milk? Is that the move?
no, white milk.
White milk. Oh,
Yeah, True Moo white milk.
$14
Little
worth.
carton. Yeah, it's almost $1. It's like 88 cents a thing for a tiny little thing. But anyways, yeah, I was just like, that's kind of crazy that they let a first grader just rack up like he could have been getting lunches, meals, and I would have had like a meal is $3, so I would have had like a 30 some odd dollar bill that you know, like if we were living paycheck to paycheck would be a little shocking. And I don't know, like James was not happy.
I can argue from the other side of that. The reason being, my mom has ran school lunch programs for like 30 years. She's worked in the school system. And I bet you, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I bet you the reason they allow kids to do that, like, hey, you know, I'm hungry or I want this or that, because there are some really fucking terrible parents out there.
Yeah.
And they won't, not only won't they send any food or drinks to with their kids to school, but they won't bother and calling the schools and setting it up to see if they have food or drink. So if a kid's hungry, they're going to be, of course, you can have all the food you want.
Yeah.
So
except for they can't get two meals.
Yeah. That's
right. You know, but you know what I mean. Like, I think it is messed up that they just allow a kid.
I think the thing, like, one, I think they should, like, there should be some sort of thing in place. I think, like the teacher should know and contact the parents and be like, hey,
he's getting milk every day. Is this okay?
Yeah. Like the first week. But yeah, it was like 3 weeks in, they give me this call, and I was like, huh, okay. You just don't know what to tell your kid to and not do. Like,
and all the other kids are getting milk.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause, dude, I remember being in, you know, elementary, like the first, second grade. I remember like at like snack time or the afternoon break time, it wasn't recess, but they would bring like carton, you know, like one of those milk crates full of those little cartons of milk to the classroom, and all the kids got them. I remember doing that.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't buy lunch, you know, I don't remember if my parents were buying it, if it was just a school thing, but
yeah.
I do remember that. And I can see a little kid like, oh yeah,
yeah,
everybody else got milk. I'd like milk. Why not?
It was just funny. I was like,
it is pretty funny.
Okay.
Guess you get milk.
Yeah, you should have known before.
Well, and there were days when he wouldn't he'd bring his lunch home and he didn't really eat. And I'm like, have you been getting, like, before, because you can log into their account and see, like, the breakdown of everything that he's gotten. And it was just milk. But before I looked, I was like, have you, like, is that why you're coming home with food? Because you're just, like, showing up and eating
school
That's
lunch.
awesome.
So, there's...
But that's the only call you've gotten from school so far?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. What are we, 3 weeks
You're doing
in?
well.
Thanks. I'm so proud.
No calls from the principal yet?
No. He's a good...
He's a good kid.
He is a good kid.
Yeah.
He's, yeah. No cussing. He seems to know when to keep it under control.
That's good.
Yeah.
Rue was taking kids down in first grade and he punched a kid, I think, in second grade. Took a kid down with Osotogari in first grade, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hope he used good technique.
He said he did. I would think so. We've done that one a lot. So I think he's pretty good at that.
That's awesome.
I said, did you get in trouble? Yep.
Yep.
What did the teacher say? She's like, she said no tackles. It's not a tackle, Mom. It's a takedown.
Oh my gosh.
I hope he said that to the
He
teacher.
did. He did. Yeah. I was like...
Well, I'm glad you said there's no tackles. I didn't tackle him.
Yeah, I did not. This was a judo throw. Thank you.
There's nothing in the books that says no judo throws.
Oh man.
He didn't really get in trouble for that one, so I figured the kid must have had it coming. Otherwise, I would have gotten a call or a refocus sheet, but nothing on that one. I did on him punching a kid. I got a refocus sheet home on that one.
What was the cause of him punching a kid?
The kid was just being awful to him, and he was putting Ruth's football like at his crotch and making like just being obscene and obnoxious, and so Rude had enough and punched him in the stomach. It's like, all right. The best refocus sheet though was him when he said fuck at school, and he had to write like what did I do, and it said I said a bad word. I said fuck, and I was like fuck was the only word spelled right on there. And then at the bottom it was like what will I do differently, and
not say fuck.
He said not say a dad word because he mixed up the B and
Oh,
D.
that's funny.
Yeah, I kept that refocus sheet because that one made me
Awesome.
laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a pretty good one.
it was right before Thanksgiving, so I was like, they're not going to remember. I'm not sending it back in. And I did, and I kept it.
That's awesome.
For the scrapbook, I guess.
That'll be a good scrapbook when he graduates high school.
Yeah,
At his open house, put that up on with some embarrassing naked baby pictures. Put the refocus sheet up there.
Refocus sheet.
Awesome.
Yep.
CZ, he puts fuck on his pictures.
I have one on my fridge.
I
have one on my fridge.
I have a Z original too.
Yes. So.
I think that's a valuable skill for a kid to learn when to swear and not to swear. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty impressed that either one of your boys got that down. That's good. Remember, that was a lesson. Like, my mom was just opposed to swearing. She didn't want us ever swearing. My dad was a little more logical. He's like, the little boys, they're going to swear. When no one's around, they're going to swear. So then he was always adamant when my mom was out of earshot. Like, hey, I know you're going to say fucked up things. He's like, don't say them when adults, if adults can hear you, don't say them. He's like, if you say it around me, he's like, honestly, I don't care. But use it right. Don't use it around adults.
Use it right.
And we're good. That was always his lessons. Yeah, like,
funny.
If you're going to use it right. So, it's a good skill for little boys to have.
Rue's pretty anti-swearing now. He was playing with some kids at the pool earlier this summer, and they were swearing, so he just took his ball and left and got away from him. I was like, wow.
Really?
From the kid who was swearing in first grade, you're pretty high horse on this one.
Hey, it's a good hill to stand on.
It works.
Let him run with it. Don't question that one.
No, we'll stick with it.
Stick with it. Cool. Well, anything else before I start hammering you guys with very...
No, do you want to hear my sister sign?
Oh, you did? You did come up with some sister signs?
Well, see, I found something when I was looking. It's called trash talking and trolling.
They did a study on this?
Yes. It talks about how men, more so than women, will trash talk. Trash talking is most commonly about the proximately important topic of playing ability, while ultimately relevant topics such as physical appearance also appear to be common. And men trash talk significantly more than women and consistently across topics. And contact sports such as football, hockey, lacrosse, and wrestling are associated with trash talk significantly more than other sports. So, that was the random...
That was the study?
Yeah, someone... it's an interesting thing to study. They did a study of 291 varsity athletes who competed in top division sports.
I can see that. Well, that segues perfectly into women in jiu-jitsu. Or, like I said, chicks in jiu-jitsu.
Chick-jitsu?
Chick-jitsu.
You can say it.
I can say it. I don't feel it's offensive. I don't think the word chick...
We use it. No,
yeah, I don't think it's offensive.
We used to have a lot more chick-jitsu. There were a lot of, like... we'd have nights where there were more women there than men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a strong women's team for a while, and then now it's really just been
Us.
2 or 3.
Yeah. At the most,
It just
yeah.
kind
I
of
think it
fallen
ebbs
off.
and flows.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We had that one class when Canuto was here with 12 women, but I don't know if that's because Canuto was here or not.
May have had something to do with
It might have.
The fact that the guy's extremely handsome and really good at jiu-jitsu. It's so frustrating.
But yeah, we haven't had, I don't know, hasn't been too many women in class. I'm trying to get more. Trying to recruit coworkers and people to come in. So
That is an interesting thing because, I mean, I've obviously talked to all my friends about it and are trying to get them to do it, and like they just don't want to. It's a weird thing.
my sister's that way. She came and watched part of one class, and we were just up, down, out at the end of class. And she had the most disgusted look on her face I've ever seen. She's like, I don't know you.
What was so disgusting to her?
Just the sweatiness and the closeness, and she was just completely grossed out.
I think it's a hard thing for women to
I think
be okay,
women
be
more
okay
than men.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. I think it's a hard thing for a lot of guys to be okay with. If you didn't grow up in competitive sports and environments, even if it wasn't wrestling, but because like when you're playing basketball or football, you're in close quarters, you're on top of each other, like you get used to it, and it's your sense of personal space is adjusted. But if you don't come up doing that, and a lot of girls don't, not as much as guys, I think that's probably the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I guess I kind of understand because when James started doing it, I was like, that's all yours. Like, you can go have fun with that. I was doing yoga and trail running and had no desire at all. And he kept talking to me about it, and and then I think I did a class, and I was like, oh, that's all right. And then I did another, and then I was like, oh, okay.
That's kind of cool.
There's something here.
Was there many other girls in there, like when you came in and tried class? I mean, you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Looking back,
I can't
I
remember
started
how
after. Oh.
Oh, is James calling in?
Yep.
Oh, we're gonna put
All
James
right.
into the podcast.
Hey.
Hello? Hey, is this the Grumpy Guy Podcast?
It is.
Yes!
The call-in line.
With the happy gals.
Dude, this is the first right here. This is the first women's edition and also our first ever call-in. We've never had...
Yes, I know. I was telling somebody, I was like, man, I gotta go be a call-in guest on my own podcast.
Yep. How's your day?
It's going good. We just got done with a presentation from a ultra runner girl. She runs like 200-mile plus races.
Jeez.
So, yeah, man, she was right up your alley, Rob.
Was
I
that
think you're
was it Courtney DeWalter?
Who?
Courtney, I think her last name's DeWalter. What was this girl's name?
Shit, you're gonna make me look it up, huh? Hold on a second. I thought her name was Becky or something.
Oh.
But, yeah, man, I think you're an ultra runner, brother.
What? I'm really curious as to why you think this.
Well, because you have to be really psycho, and you have to be very comfortable with pain, almost to the point of enjoying it.
Okay.
And, you know, you kind of have to be mad at yourself a little bit.
Check, check, check. Yeah.
Check, check, check. And, dude, her whole thing was most of it's mental. Becky Rogers was her name.
Huh.
You know, a lot of it's mental. And it was interesting because she was talking about how a lot of her training is geared towards that mental aspect. Like, she'll go on runs dragging a tire or carrying a kettlebell, and it's not so much for the aerobic fitness, it's the mental training. It's like, this is hard. And so if she can complete that workout without having to, you know, put the log down or the kettlebell or, you know, stop dragging the tire, then when she gets to the race and it's hard, and she can be like, at least I don't got to carry a fucking log up this hill. And so, yeah, as I was, you know, listening to her, I'm like, dude, this sounds like Rob. This is like shit that Rob does all the time. He does stupid shit to himself just so that when things get hard, he's like, well, this is easier than the shit I did to myself. And so that's why I was like, dude, you're an ultra runner at heart, I think, bro.
You might be onto something, man. You know, it's funny. I was just thinking about that the other day because when I was in Telluride this past week, they had the Imogene Pass run, which is the Imogene Pass is a pass that goes from Uray to Telluride. It's like 17 miles, and it's 10 miles uphill to the top of Imogene Pass, which is way the fuck up there, at like 12, 13, 14,000 feet, and then 7 miles back down into Telluride. And I was like, man, I could get on board with something like that. You know, it is just about suffering. I might do something like that.
Dude, yeah, man, it is. It's about being comfortable with suffering.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was funny, man. It was, yeah, that was my takeaway. Was you're a closet ultra runner.
I think I am.
So, yeah, man. But no, man, it's good. We had the presentations yesterday were super good. Had man, the one that got me fired up was actually the guy who owns the gym here, talking about like doing good, you know, using your you know, like, you know, I don't know, like his thing is like doing charity events. Like he does a charity workout every weekend on Saturday, and he raises like thousands of dollars for local charities, and just, you know, how he's able to use his platform for helping to influence, you know, just do good in the community. And yeah, that kind of got me inspired, trying to think of some different ways and things. But yeah, no, it's been good. Then we had the fucking crazy thunderstorm last night. It's funny, man. You think in Seattle where it rains all the time that like lightning and thunder would be common, but apparently it's not. So they were all tripping out. But yeah, man. So that's been my experience, sitting here just sweating a lot unnecessarily in the humidity of the Pacific Northwest.
Oh man.
So
yeah. So what's the topic? What are you guys talking about?
we were just getting into chicks in jiu-jitsu. We had our first 40 minutes of nonsense.
Yes.
And then I don't know what's going on. We're having some sound issues, but So we had a bunch of storytelling and nonsense, and then now we're getting into chicks in jiu-jitsu, and then we've been sidelined now with some good James stories.
With the ultra, with Rob being a closet ultra runner.
Yeah.
So, well, nice. So, are we in favor or against chicks in jiu-jitsu?
I didn't think. Wow.
Way to ask that question when Rob's the only guy here.
I didn't even think that was a question, James. But
well, we got to start at the beginning, don't we?
I see. Apparently, I'm a more sensitive, giving type of person. I would start with the question: how did you women get involved in jiu-jitsu, and maybe how to get more women involved, not whether we should allow women to do it or not.
I guess that's a good place to start. You're also sitting in the room with them too, so
that is true. There's immediate consequences to my actions.
You're hundreds of miles away safely.
That's right. That is right. So yeah. So what did you guys? I mean, what's Angela's story? Did she tell her story yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, I'm kind of interested to hear what's Angela's story. How'd she get into jiu-jitsu?
So my best friend in California did jiu-jitsu, and I went and watched her one day and told her she was absolutely crazy. There's no way in hell I would ever do that. And then got a divorce, moved out here, and then I was like, I need something to do, because Rue was at his dad's half the time. So I trained for a Tough Mudder and did that in June. And as soon as I was done with that, I was like, all right, now what can I do? I was like, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. So I went to the old Gracie Baja gym here and tried one class, and they said if you sign up on your first day, we'll give you a free gi. And I was like, all right, sign me up. And I was a little nervous to sign a 1-year contract because I didn't know if I'd stick with it that long, but 7 years later, here I am.
Here you are.
Here you are. Yeah, no, it's funny, man. I remember you were my training partner when Tim popped my rib.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it was like a couple weeks before my first tournament that I'd signed up, and we were doing up, down, out, and Tim got me in a bow and arrow choke. Surprise, surprise. And and yeah, just the way I got twisted trying to get out of it, he fucking popped one of my rib cartilage. And so I ended up not being able to compete, but like it was really hard to train. I definitely couldn't train with like someone who was just beast moding all the time. So I remember that's when you and I like started to become friends, because you were like my training partner like every time for a few months there when my rib was hurt.
Every time you were hurt, or if anybody else was hurt, you'd be like, train with Angela.
You know, and that trend has continued as I'm coming back from knee surgery.
Yep.
I know I can trust you to train with you, so you've been one of my go-to drilling partners.
Yep.
So I don't fuck my leg up again. Look at that.
Look at that.
You found this.
That's my niche in the gym.
Yeah. That's a good niche to have.
Yeah.
That means you're trustworthy.
Well, good. Not spazzy.
Not spazzy.
That's good.
I can't help but wonder. Never mind. Anyways.
And then we were just getting into Kiele's story and how she got started.
Yeah, so let's hear Kiele. I want to hear her remembrance of it.
Well, I was saying that I didn't want anything to do with it.
Well, what's funny is you don't remember taking your first class.
Well, like, I did say, I think just because you've told me about it, that I took a class and didn't really like it, and then went back again, and the second time it stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is that your story? That's it?
That's it.
There's more to it. You want me to tell it?
Sure.
So,
I'm so glad you called.
I know, right? So I can tell you your own history of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But no, I remember you. You weren't. I got into it. Shiloh started taking classes, and then God, I can't remember. Like if you took a class, I think it was at Grand Valley right after it opened. And so I think that's probably part of the reason, too. There just weren't a whole lot of training partners. I don't think we had many girls there. I don't even know if Angela had made her way over there yet. And so, yeah, you were not super impressed with it. And you and Charlie were doing yoga, hot yoga all the time, and yoga vinyasa.
Yes.
And so that was what you guys were doing. And then you guys had a bad experience with somebody talking, like telling you to be quiet or something when you guys were in the class and you guys were just like, tired of dealing with rude yoga people. And so, yeah, you guys stopped going, and then you were looking for something to do the next winter when we couldn't go out and hike as much. And I just kind of casually threw out, I was like, well, you remember we do have a membership at that jiu-jitsu gym. And I remember when I threw it out there, I was throwing it out there, like expecting you to come back, like with like, wow, I don't like that or whatever. And then you were like, yeah, I think I'll try it again. I was like, holy shit. Okay. I was so surprised when you took me up on it. And, then you came in and you had fun. But you know what made me the most nervous was your first tournament.
Yeah.
Because tournaments can ruin people. I mean, we've talked about it, right? Like we send a group of people to a tournament, and it's gotten to the point where I'm like, dude, I'll guarantee you one of those people will never set foot in this gym again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah. You like a group of white belts go to their first tournament, and some of them will never do jiu-jitsu again. And I was so nervous for you because I was back when like Kevin was really pushing us to compete a lot, and I wasn't really sure if it was like the best thing for you to do because you just started training. I was like, dude, she's gonna go out there. What's going to happen if you get like mollywopped by some, girl and you come away with a really bad experience and then you hate jiu-jitsu and you're not the most aggressive person in the world anyway. So I was like, dude, she's going to get out there and some hyper aggressive girl is going to, just aggressive her way through it. And then I remember that first girl you went against, she was like a blue and a white belt. Remember that?
Yep.
And they made her go change her belt because she needed a real white belt because there's no such thing as a blue and white belt. And then she had a fucking head cap on too, like a swim cap.
Yep.
I was like, Jesus Christ. And then she was late getting there, and then they made her change her belt. And I was like, and so they just kept delaying you, and you were just like getting more and more nervous. I was like, this is bullshit. And then you went out there and fucking kicked ass, man. And I was so pumped. And you would have won that first match if Kevin hadn't told you to try to do something that you've never even heard of or tried in your life before in the middle of a match. You know what I mean? Like, the first time to try to coach somebody on a move is not the first time in the middle of a fucking jiu-jitsu match. But because you were up on points and you had her in your closed guard. And it was like, dude, do not open your legs. And he told you to try to, like, fucking balloon sweep her or something. And she stood up. And you tried to do that, and she ended up like passing your guard, and you ended up losing on points in like the last 30 seconds. And do you remember? I was fucking pissed. I was yelling at Kevin.
I remember. I felt like a kid at a sports event, and their parent was arguing with the coach.
Dude, I was like, why did you tell her to do that? She doesn't, it's like she had that fight won, and Kevin's like, whatever, And anyways, we worked it out. But yeah, it was a double elimination. So you came back. You had another match.
Yeah.
And you ended up winning that. And you won your next one. What did you win? Like 2 or 3 in a row. But it was a really big division. So like you didn't end up getting to the medal rounds.
Yeah.
Even though you won like 3 rounds, with 3 and 2 anyways. But dude, I was so pumped. I was so nervous. I remember that. I was like, dude, I hope she does not come away from this tournament ruined on jiu-jitsu.
I remember that we almost lost Z.
You don't know that. I told you that. Yes, I almost lost Z.
So James almost lost Z.
James almost lost Z. Yes.
Yeah, she's on the mat wrestling, and I'm sitting here like, watching her like super intensely, and all of a sudden I turn around and I'm like, where the fuck is Z at? And luckily he was not too far away. But yeah, there was like 15 seconds of panic when you're in like the Cow Palace or whatever the fuck that arena is.
Yeah.
And there's like all these people around. You're like, dude, where's my kid? But luckily a jiu-jitsu tournament's probably one of the better places to lose your kid if you're gonna lose your kid.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, if you're gonna lose them, it might as well be at a jiu-jitsu tournament. Better than Disney World, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure. Or like a NAMBLA conference or something like that.
A NAMBLA reference. I haven't heard that in years.
So, but, anyway, so that's my recollection. And then you got bit by the bug and you ended up being better at jiu-jitsu than me. And so here we are.
Here we are.
So there's your story, Kiele.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
You need someone to have a different twist on your story.
I know. I would like to hear what the other side of my story is.
I'm sure there's another side to it.
Probably. We don't need to go into that.
Oh, man.
My family thinks I'm stupid. I'm sure they have another side.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be a good version of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You came back with a tattoo, and they don't think highly of us.
No, I got a 15-minute lecture after I told them I was going to do one fight to win tournament as a white belt. The first one I ever did. I got like a 15-minute lecture about what are you going to do if you break your arm? How are you going to take care of your son? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, jeez.
Which is when I decided, like, Rue can take care of himself. So I was like, go and do all your stuff yourself. That's what came of that. Rue's independence, not anything else.
There you go. That's awesome.
Cool. What you got?
Yeah.
You got a birthday party, don't you?
I don't have to leave till 2:30.
Okay.
So we got 20 minutes.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's the takeaway there? Like, I don't know. What's your girl's opinion on getting more girls in jiu-jitsu, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a good question, James, is like for us guys, like what can we do to make the jiu-jitsu gym environment like more welcoming to new women coming in and trying it, because it's generally kind of a male-driven environment and a little rough around the edges, and because guys don't care as much about some of that stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Rob? What would you do?
I don't know. That's why I'm looking at the two women here, hoping they got good answers.
I think women that do this sport are a little off anyway. I mean, you kind of have to be a little bit different, a little odd to do. Like, you're not going to attract the general population of women just because it doesn't appeal to most women. But I mean, to get women that want to come in and try it, and I think a lot of them when they try it will stay. But you need to foster an environment of, like, I would say cleanliness for one thing. I mean, make sure people have clean gis, like, because I think women are definitely more sensitive to that than men. I would say, and then and make sure the other day when we were doing class, we were doing up, down, out, and there were some guys there that are a little aggressive. I turned to Rob and I was like, hey, would you make your don't be a dick speech? So before we did up, down, out, he made us don't be a dick speech, and I don't know if it worked or not. I didn't end up going with those two guys, but I don't know. I think just making women feel comfortable and knowing they're not going to get
manhandled.
Manhandled by these like super aggressive and usually bigger guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think like that is the hardest thing for me is to feel like I'm just being picked up and placed, like tossed around, and it's almost like a instinct type of thing. Like there's something in me that kicks in that like I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like my reaction to being tickled. Like it's my rational brain is like you're fine, but there's like this deep instinct in me that's like, no, this is not okay. Like when a guy just like picks me up and freaking tosses me around and I am just helpless, like that is the one thing that I still to this day really kind of struggle with sometimes.
Yeah.
I think most advanced belts, as guys, are pretty good with that. Pretty mindful that generally we're stronger than most of the women. There is still a few knuckleheads that go a little too hard. That just don't know how to turn the volume knob down.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that out loud makes me think. Like, because I do a good job at bringing some of those things up in like beginner class, but I take for granted that just if someone's got some color on the belt, they should know this. But it's probably not a bad idea to mention it, even before doing up, down, out in those advanced classes. Like, hey, you guys chill out. Like, use technique with the women. Like, if you got to turn your volume knob up more than 50%, like, you're doing the technique wrong. If you got to throw some woman around to make the move work, like, you're not doing good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You're just kind of being an asshole.
That's like, I can get submitted all day long by someone that like, rolling with like you and Jamie and James and like, yeah, it's like, that's one thing, but yeah, it's another when I'm just like, all right. Like, there's no technique here. I'm just being freaking picked up.
Yeah.
Smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because as a female, you have to use technique because you don't have that smash ability that men do most of the time. So I don't know. I would say that's one of the bigger frustrations is feeling picked on, I guess, or
helpless.
Just helpless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cleanliness and being physically assaulted. Are
those are two barriers.
Two turnoffs.
Yeah.
I can see those being legitimate turnoffs.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think overall though, like, you guys do a great job of, doing those speeches, don't be a dick speech. And yeah, so.
But the problem is too, again, I'm just kind of thinking about this as you said that, because I can see myself, because I've tried several different versions and timings and strategic timings of that speech, but usually the people that need to hear it don't pick up on it. I think just, me being a coach, one of the senior students at the gym, I need to realize that and actually pull those people aside that obviously aren't getting the message and be like, hey man, chill out when you're rolling with the women. Instead of trying to be nice about it, like, you give the hygiene speech before class so you don't have to call out the stinky guy. But it's usually the stinky guy who doesn't get the fucking message. Yeah. So then you have to do the uncomfortable thing and pull them over like, hey man, let's think about washing your gi before you come back to class, cut your fucking toenails, Yeah, because I'm thinking of a couple of our higher ranked guys specifically that probably should be like, hey, tone it down a little bit. You go a little harder than women. Yeah. Because they're not getting the message.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Or even if you're watching Up, Down, Out or watching, live rolling at the end, just, call it out at the time. I would think. Like, what are you doing?
Well, because it's easy once you're rolling to, like, get into the moment and like, look back and, like, because I've done it. I've been like, oh, well, I shouldn't have gone that hard with something. And, like, but in the moment, you kind of forget because, there's a lot going on.
I mean, even like, I'm not justifying it, but sometimes it's kind of tough from a guy's point of view if you aren't self-aware, like, because both of you girls are good and you can create some fucking problems for us. And even if you create a problem, like, a lot of times you can just like beast out it if you really wanted to. And I think that's where some guys, fall instead, because they don't want to lose to a chick. Like, that's terrible. I'm not tapping to a chick. Yep. I'm just gonna fucking gorilla smash her.
I've heard James say that before.
No, I said that I'll let you pass my guard, but you're not getting the submission. So anyway, no. I think that all those are good points. I mean, obviously, I think the biggest thing is just remembering, like, women are not, dudes without a penis and breasts. You know what I mean? Like, they're different. And, like, they think differently. They look at the world differently. It was actually one of the things that Becky girl was talking about, that the way that ultra marathon runners, the way that men mentally handle the race versus the way that women mentally handle the race is totally different. And she didn't realize that until she started, like, asking around and doing some surveys. And, like, men, for the most part, are almost 100% analytical. It's all like math equations, how fast am I going? How much longer do I still have? And women are more kind of like a feeling thing and running on gratitude and trying to, it's kind of more of an emotional thing. And she said it was like 100%. It was all the men did it this way and all the women did it this way. And, just remembering that women walk in and they see the environment differently, right? Like, so we may not notice that the gym stinks, right? Because we're used to fucking stinky dudes and, locker rooms and stuff. But, like, man, if your gym stinks, if it's dirty, these are things that women, I think, notice, and it matters more to them than necessarily most guys. And also, like you were saying, just remembering that rolling with a guy is – man, that's like, me rolling with a fucking NFL linebacker, and it's the, keeping that in mind so that you are trying to, like, keep people from either beasting out on women or, being mindful. I think the coach, like, knowing, like, hey, that new white belt there is probably not a good fit for this, girl who's trying class the first day. And so during Up, Down, Out, like, trying to facilitate a little bit, like, where people go and who they roll with rather than just leaving it 100% random. So I've noticed you girls doing that. Like, you girls take note on stuff, and I've seen you guys skip a place or two in line to, get with a better training partner. Is that accurate?
Yes, and I tell new girls too. That one girl she'd done a couple classes. I was like, I pointed out the people not to roll with. I'm like, anybody else in here is fine, but do not roll with these people. So.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, but it's hard, man, because guys are like, man, we don't want to dumb down our sport or whatever, or make it all touchy feely and blah blah blah, and it's like, that's not necessarily what it is. It's just it's looking at your gym and the experience that people have at it through your customer's eyes or through your students' eyes, and trying to put yourself in their position and see it the way that they see it. And the other hard thing too, man, Rob, you and I have talked about this a few times, is after you've done jiu-jitsu for 10, 15 plus years, it's really hard to remember what it was like to be a white belt. Yeah?
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah, and so especially, and then you have no idea what it's like to be a white belt girl.
No, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So, I think that's kind of the big thing is, man, if you want to get more women into this sport, that, we don't need to go the whole social justice warrior route, feminize everything, toxic masculinity is horrible kind of thing. But I think that, just realize, man, I had that talk with Kevin, man, because one thing that drives me nuts about jiu-jitsu is a little fucking side rant. You want to get more girls into jiu-jitsu? They need to fucking split up the kids, man. They need to stop making girls wrestle with boys as kids. Nothing ruins a girl on jiu-jitsu faster than an 8-year-old girl getting fucking manhandled by another 8-year-old boy. And you know what I mean? It's not the same thing. I kind of understand why, but man, I've talked about this before, and it drives me nuts because I can point to a couple instances that I know made a mark on Shiloh, our daughter, with jiu-jitsu. She had a bad experience rolling with boys, and it really soured her on jiu-jitsu. And I don't understand why they make young girls roll, especially at tournaments, right? I can see it at your school. You're going to do up, down, out. You're going to do that. But it's like, dude, at tournaments, I don't know. I think that if you want to get more girls into the sport, they need to stop pretending that everybody under 13 is the same, and recognize that, man, girls, dude, it's not the same damn thing. So, but I don't know. That was a little side rant for me. But because I remember telling Kevin, I was like, dude, you have no idea what it's like to be a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old girl doing jiu-jitsu. And you're sitting here trying to tell me, well, I know what it's like to be manhandled by another guy and get my ass kicked. And it's like, no, dude, it is different. A guy getting his ass kicked by another guy is not the same thing as a girl getting her ass kicked by a guy. And, it's like that drives me nuts. I think that right there is probably one of the more maddening things for me, but that's just my opinion. So I don't know what that meant.
Well, I think that touches on what I was saying about going against a guy that just picks you up and tosses you around.
Yeah. No, it's hard, man. It's hard. If you're, the guys running the sport look at it and they're just trying to look at it through their lens as men, not realizing that it looks totally different as a woman. And we need to find a compromise between the two visions. And that's what's going to, ultimately get more women into jiu-jitsu. But, so what's your guys' opinion on women's classes?
I don't necessarily think I need it, but I think it for beginners it would probably be a lot easier to get into the sport. I think if you're walking into a class with all women, because I think for a lot of women that's what's intimidating about starting or doing your first class.
Yeah, I think that would help get more women introduced to it, because it is that's some of the biggest things is big sweaty dudes.
Yeah.
And them just picking you up and manhandling you. So I think a beginner's women class would be a good thing.
I think that I don't disagree, but the problem is just the lack of women.
Yeah.
You gotta have a big stable of women to start with. Then so it's kind of a catch-22. Yeah, in a perfect world, yes, that is a good solution for new people. Because I think once you get once you get blue, purple belt, like you're sticking around for the long haul anyways, for the most part.
Yeah.
And so then training with the guys in the regular class is fine. But yeah, women's class for beginners, I think is a good idea, but it's so tough to implement.
Yeah, I think it would be good if it was very clear that this is a beginner, like very introductory class.
Yes.
Like the tone is set that like this isn't the deal. Like you're expected to just integrate with the rest of the gym. We're not doing like a girls and guys thing here. It's to get your feet wet. It's a good idea, Yeah.
Well, and I think we're pretty good at our gym about, when a new woman comes in, there's usually another female for her to partner with. Like very rarely do they walk in and have to immediately roll with the guys. Like we're pretty good about that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are pretty good about, approaching the new girl that comes in and making her feel welcome.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys do that on a number of occasions. I think that's important. That goes a long ways too. Because it's not like I said, at one time we did have a lot of girls in there, but now we don't. Just a handful. So yeah, I think you just got to keep that up. Make it a nice, warm, welcoming environment, so it's not super intimidating for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Did you cut out? Oh, I didn't know if James cut out or you just lost your train of thought.
No, I'm here. I'm trying not. It's like you said, it's a catch-22, man. It's to have a women's program, you need to have women.
Right.
And so, that's kind of what happened with us is like we built our women's program without the use of a women's program. So all the girls were used to training with guys. So it's almost like they didn't want to not train with the guys. And, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that in the right environment and the right circumstances can certainly help. But I wouldn't say that it's a necessity. Like if you really want to grow your women, the women's program and the women that come into your gym, that's kind of like, I think the easy thing. Everyone's all like, oh, if I want to get more women in here, I'll start a women's program. And it's like, dude, look around your gym first, right? Is it clean? Does it smell good? Does, do the women have, like there's so many other things that you can do, like that we've talked about, that can make jiu-jitsu more inviting for women rather than just inserting a women's program into an already existing, maybe not a welcoming environment. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I concur.
Oh, okay. You're concurring next to us, not agreeing with us.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think it's fun. I pulled up some sister science.
yes.
But I think it's interesting because just kind of going on a different topic, but like you look at the tournaments and I feel like women become friends. Like I know almost every woman that I've competed against and we're like friends on Instagram and stay in touch. And I just think it's interesting because guys don't seem to have that.
Well, I wonder if it's because there's just not as many of you. And so you have a lot of respect for each other that you compete against. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's got something
they're
to do
just
with it.
different, man.
Yeah.
Nah, women are just different. Like it cracks me up. I watch Kiele, and it's a joke by this point. I'm like, you guys Instagram friends yet? Like she walks off the fucking mat with a person, and it's like, you guys friends yet? You guys Instagram friends already? And no, I think it's just different. It goes back to that. Women they're just the mind chemistry, the way that they see the world is different, and they are more relationship driven, whereas guys are more into stuff, and women are more into like developing relationships. So we want to win that fucking medal. That's what we want, or to show that we kick ass or whatever. Because it's funny, I talked to you about this, Rob, and I remember you telling me, you're like, I kind of know one dude that I competed against. That's just because I've seen him a shit ton of times at tournaments over the years. And but yeah, I'm not friends with any of the guys I've competed against or anything like that. But it is an interesting difference, at least in our little group here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common across the board. I mean, there's a couple of guys that I've kind of came up in the ranks with, that we competed against each other at blue belt, purple, brown, and now at black. There's only there's a couple guys that fall into that category, but being that I don't have social media, I'm not friends with them on there. But we're friendly when we see each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Like, I'm not walking off the mat like mad dog. We're not like scowling at each other. We're like shaking hands, like, hey man, that was a great match, and good luck, and the rest of that, like friendly. But I'm not like, hey man, we need to be friends on Facebook. What's your Instagram handle? Hit me up there. It is weird, but I think that's again, it just kind of speaks to the differences there and how we look at our experiences. Like, women, I don't know, again, I could be wrong, man, but it's like it is a lot about like building the relationships as much as getting the fitness and the self-defense and the jiu-jitsu itself. Am I speaking wrong there, ladies?
No, that's totally true.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're like sisters.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, you girls, the girls, like when we had a bunch of girls there, like you guys were all, friends. You guys would go do shit together. Yeah. And you don't really see the guys doing that as much. So, and it's fine. I'm friends with the guys, but we're not like, the relationship component isn't as important. I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, how am I going to keep Rob from getting on my back next time? Not like, no, I wonder what Rob's doing for dinner. Maybe he wants to go out, grab a bite. So I could be wrong, but I think that might be a little different than, when Kiele's thinking about Angela, I'm sure it's probably most of the time in friendly terms. And when I'm thinking about my jiu-jitsu partners, it's usually in like fucking like, that motherfucker, how am I going to get him to stop this or whatever? So, but
when I'm thinking about Angela, I'm thinking about how we need to come up with our next outfit to
see
the newest
exactly
gal outfit.
Rob and I have never had that conversation.
Never.
No, Rob found a shirt last night that you guys probably both need.
I did.
Okay.
He did. And he even suggested that you guys needed this shirt.
One day, James and I might show up to class with matching shirt or something. You guys would be surprised.
But see, it wasn't our idea. It was you girls.
No, this was Rob's idea.
Yeah, but it may be my idea, but in that practice, it's because of you guys' influence.
Because we do it all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So even as much as we try to resist your guys' influence, it happens.
Creeps in.
It creeps in. No one to hold you on the podcast.
Yes.
What was that? I think it was a meme or something. Where like the sucker fish or something that you can't get rid of.
The octopus on your face.
Nice.
Yeah. So what do you got up next? Do you got more presentations or laser tag?
Chris Duffin, who's the guy, one of the owners of Kabuki Strength, is coming in to present on like soft tissue release stuff.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he's got some interesting stuff. He's like, instead of like just doing foam rolling, he does like compression rolling. And so like think about like, like almost like a ram rollers. It's like instead of rolling your quad, like the roller's on the ground and you're facing the ground and you're rolling on the roller, getting like a super heavy roller that weighs like 50, 60 pounds, and then you're laying on your back and the roller's sitting on you and you're rolling that up and down your legs.
Huh.
And that's different than the other kind. So I'm kind of curious to see where he's going with it, but he's got a couple, tools that they've, come up with to kind of help with that concept. Huh. And, so that's what we got next. And then we got some laser tag after that.
Nice.
So,
sweet.
You need to tell Joel Jameson to get my Morpheus sent out. My quality of life and my recovery
hangs in the balance.
It hangs in the balance because he doesn't have my Morpheus in the mail yet.
I told him. I delivered your message last night at dinner. I said my buddy Rob wanted me to tell you that he wants his M5 band. So, and he was like, okay.
Noted.
He can want all he wants.
Still not happening.
Nah, it's supposed to be. He said it should be sent out here in the next week or so. It's just we were talking a little bit last night about manufacturing stuff. I mean, he's having it manufactured over in China, so it's just you're kind of on their schedule, and there's really not a whole lot you can do with it. So he's definitely working hard, but the delay is frustrating him as well. But they do have one of the watches here. One of the guys that one of his guys that works for him, who's in charge of the Morpheus stuff, has it here. So it's pretty slick, man. You're gonna like it.
I'm pumped.
Nice.
Yeah. So I found out about a website last night that completely expanded my horizons.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called poopsenders.com.
Say that again?
Poopsenders.com.
Okay.
They will anonymously send cow poop to someone of your choice.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So if you want to send someone a bag of shit, they will do it for you, and they will do it anonymously, so they have no idea who it came from.
I want to ask, but I'm a little afraid to. How did you discover this?
It was just someone at the conversation at dinner last night. It came up.
Okay.
And apparently they have a variety pack that you can do. So yes, anyways, I had no idea that you could pay someone to anonymously send cow poop to someone for you.
Huh.
And now my horizons are expanded.
I would like to get them as an official podcast sponsor. That would be pretty amazing.
But we can just start saying they are.
We could.
We don't want them to send us anything.
No, we don't want any free products.
No freebies.
Oh my god.
It's on us, guys. Please don't send us anything. It's just free publicity.
My wheels are turning. I feel like Angela and I could do something with our bags of dicks.
We totally could.
Oh, the bag of dick cookies.
Bag of dicks, yeah.
Angela, did she tell you? I a couple times when we were negotiating with our bank for my line of credit increase, and it looked like things weren't going to work out with them. I was like, dude, I'm going to have Angela bake me a bag of dicks that I can send them.
We totally could make a business out of it. Anonymously send bags of dicks to people.
Well, not to rain on your parade, but there is a company out there that sends bags of gummy dicks.
They're gummies,
really?
though.
Ours
are sugar cockies. They're so much better.
They are better, but you can send a bag of dicks.
You can send a bag
Way
of
better.
dicks. Yeah.
Because then you can choose, what color do you want them? Do you want them to be hairy or shaved?
We did
What
Christmas
size? Do you want to really intimidate the person you're sending it to?
Oh my god.
What message are you trying to send?
Yeah, what message are you sending? Is it a big black hairy cock? Or a small little Asian cock? What are we doing here? And I think that you can have a whole consulting service where you're like, what message are we sending? Well, based on that, I would say 2 of these kind of cocks and 1 of these.
That is a great idea because, when you go to a website to buy clothes, they'll have the size calculator sometimes, so you can type in your build, color and size.
Yes.
So you could do the same thing. What message are you trying to send for your cockies?
Yeah,
totally.
Oh, we would suggest 2 little Asians and 1 big black for this message.
Yes, exactly.
You guys are so racist.
Hey man, I'm full of good ideas. So, I think there's a business there for you, Angela. If you ever get tired of working a regular 9 to 5, then Angry Baking with Angela has so many different avenues you can take it. You know,
is true.
and the bag of cockies is definitely one of those avenues.
I like the consulting. I like the
Yeah.
I like the consulting side of it.
Yeah, I like that.
You need to just tell me what message you want to send, and I
will come up with a bag of dicks for you.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Well, on that note, I need to get going here.
Okay. Yeah.
Z has a very important birthday party.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, I'm gonna get going. I'll let you guys wrap up on your end, and but yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys making the effort. When I realized that I was out of town and how the math was going to work out, or the time math, I was like, shit, man, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna miss an episode? We can't miss an episode.
We can't miss an episode.
No.
So, no, this was a good idea. We talked about having the Happy Gals on before, so I'm glad. I appreciate you guys filling in for me and stepping up while I was out of town.
You're welcome.
And
Anytime.
You owe us
going.
big.
I do. I will have a bag of poop sent to you guys.
That's not what I meant.
Wrong message.
Okay, wrong message. Well, Angela, you and I will consult, and we'll figure out what message I'm wanting to send.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so. All right, guys. I will talk to you all later.
All right.
See you, James.
Okay.
See ya.
I love you.
I love you, too.
Love you in a jiu-jitsu way.
And I love you in a jiu-jitsu way. And, Rob, I don't love you, but I really like you. And, we'll leave it at that. So, sound good?
No response. I'll leave it at that. Thanks, bro.
Yes, let's make it really awkward.
Awkward. I will talk to you later, my friend.
Just remember, it doesn't create the situation. It just enhances
Just enhance it, buddy.
Okay, brother. Talk to
All
you
right,
guys
man.
later.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, hopefully the sound quality wasn't too terrible on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the speakerphone up to the microphone, we shall see. Once
It was all right.
I think hopefully we'll be all right. I'll check it out as soon as we get done recording this afternoon. I'll see. And if it's terrible, well, I'm sure we won't lose too many listeners. They don't expect a lot from us. So
I think they'll put up with it in order to hear the Happy Gal's perspective.
Yeah.
you think so?
I think
you
so.
think you guys got that much sway?
Oh, yeah.
We brought a lot to this podcast.
All right. So we'll call this a wrap. You got to get Z to a birthday party. We don't want to be jumping through any conclusions.
But we're pro women in jiu-jitsu? Is that
Yes,
our
and
decision?
in case the message got skewed, all of us at Grumpy Guy are pro women in jiu-jitsu. Just make sure there was no confusion there.
Okay, good.
Whether we know how to do it or not is another thing, but we are definitely for it.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
So we'll end on that.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Okay,
you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast.
Thank you all for listening. You can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. It really does help and will allow us to keep putting out episodes. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, hit us up at grumpyguybjj@gmail.com. Also, go to our website, grumpyguybjj.com, and get signed up for podcast updates and get our free BJJ Improvement Starter Kit. That's it for now. So get on the mat, train hard, and talk to you all next week.
Down clown with a permanent rep, a hermit now, boom. Doggy school, foggy, cool, got a froggy outside Molly dude. Melancholy Daisy dude, hanging by the lace of their shoes. No trace of the tools, shaped in your face, fuck the rules. Snooze, you lose. One eye always open, in times two, no clue, but soon a brief monsoon might give you a view to choose. Stay tuned, include, won't conclude. To the end is near beware there's consequences for what you do. To meaning demon, a devil of many levels. I keep on feeding for several of them rebels. Me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I.